Do you have that tight QL on you? Otherwise known as the Quadratus Lumborum, which is a muscle that commonly gets tight in this area. If you always have tension there, I'm going to show you 3 of my favorite moves to help reduce that tension for good. If you're not familiar with my videos, I like to show 3 simple moves for a particular body area or a particular muscle group. That first helps reduce tension in that area. Secondly, restores motion in that area. And thirdly, reinforces stability in that area so we can really hold on to those changes for long periods of time. And to get the most bang for your buck, these moves have to go in sequential order of each other. So first, let me show you how to reduce that tight muscle tension. All we need for this move is a ball. I got a lacrosse ball here. You can use a golf ball, softball, anything that's round. And first thing you're gonna do is find where your spine is, and then you're gonna roll that ball just off to the side, and then slowly lean back on it. Now just with my body weight pressure, I can already feel I'm hitting a tight spot. So if this is pretty intense for you, you're just gonna hold this for a good 30 to 60 seconds. If you don't feel that tension quite yet, you can slowly move around until you find a tight spot. And as you're holding this, if you feel that tension start to decrease, what you're gonna do is hug your same side knee towards your chest. And now we're going to try to elongate that muscle under tension. And oh my goodness, this is about to bring a tear to my eye. And to take it up even further, you can slowly start to rotate towards that same side, putting more of your body weight through that tightness. If you never used a ball like this to reduce tension, aim for 30 seconds. My more advanced people actually want to aim for 90 seconds. That's the gold standard. And of course, you can do the other side, especially if both sides are pretty tight. Doing both sides is a really good audit to see what your baseline tension should be on your good side. So on my right side, I'm rolling around. It's a little bit harder for me to find that tension. So I'm immediately gonna bring my knee towards my chest. Oh, there we go. I found that tension. And then I'm just gonna slowly roll my body weight and then just think about breathing into that ball pressure. Channeling your inner Zen in through the nose, out through the mouth. And just think of that tension just melting away. So now that we reduced that tension on both sides, we're going to start to restore some motion in that area. Since the QL is just located off the spine, we're going to restore some side bend motion. So all you need for this is somewhere to sit. I'm on a bench, or you can sit on a chair at home. And you're going to scooch to the edge, and then you're going to give yourself a little bit of a hug here. What we're going to do is try to segment our spine, or try to side bend one vertebra at a time. So I'm going to start going to my left. What I'm going to do is start to dip my shoulder, side bending from the thoracic spine, and then I'm trying to move one vertebra at a time until I get to my low back or my lumbar spine, and I feel like I'm running out of real estate right around here. You just want to go as far as you can without letting that opposite hip come off. And then once I'm at the end of my range, now I'm going to try to upright my spine or straighten up from the lumbar spine up to the thoracic. So once I start to upright here, I'm going to take that momentum, immediately start to side bend to my right side now. Again, trying to work one vertebra at a time. And turtle wins the race with this one. It looks simple, but it's actually very difficult, especially if you're trying to move one vertebra at a time. And then we're going to upright, slow, controlled movement until we get back to the top. I'll show you the same movement from the back now. Hug yourself. I'm going to start to my left, so I'm going to dip that left shoulder, start to side bend from my upper thoracic down to my lower, down to my lumbar, again without that hip coming off of wherever you're sitting. And then once you get to the end of that range, you might feel like you're about to cramp. That's totally normal. And then now we're going to try to upright from the bottom back up to the top, and then use that momentum to then start to side bend from the other side. Doing both sides at a time, you can really kind of compare what side feels tighter than the other, because you could focus some more isolated reps on whatever side is more sticky. So there's move number 2. You're going to do a good 5 to 10 slow controlled reps on each side. And again, that's going to help restore that nice spinal motion right around where that QL muscle lives. But we still got some work to do. So to recap, we reduced some of that tension in the muscle. We restored some of that motion, specifically in the spine. Now we want to reinforce those changes with some stability work. So for this, we're going to do an old reliable that most of you have probably done in your life, and that's just a side plank. So if I'm lying on my side here, what you're going to do is bring that top leg out in front so you have a wider base of support. Then you're going to drive that forearm into the ground to bring yourself up. Now this is level 1. We're just going to hold this side plank for about 30 seconds. But if this is too easy for you, we can start to build some more movement into it. So I can slowly dip my hip towards the ground, just hovering above it. And then I'm going to slowly bring my hip up towards the ceiling. Seems super simple, but I'm shaking like the dickens right now. So you can either hold it for time, or you can think about doing a good 5 repetitions going up and down, or until you're smoked, and then take a break and go to the other side. So again, driving arm, nice straight line. Level 1 would just be holding this for as long as you can until you start to fatigue. But if it's too easy, we're gonna slowly dip hip towards the ground, just hovering above. And then now try to bring that hip up towards the ceiling, just trying to move from the pelvis. Again, nice slow controlled movement. Think about how you were doing those segmental side bends before. I'm trying to do that similar thing, but now I have to stabilize while doing it. Whew. After a good 1 to 2 rounds on each side, you're gonna get some nice blood flow to that area, and you should feel more stable. So to recap, we did 3 simple movements. Number 1 was just getting a lacrosse ball or any type of ball to help reduce some of that muscle tension. Level 2 was restoring that motion, specifically that side bending. And number 3 is reinforcing stability with a static side plank, or you can get a little bit more dynamic by moving the hips up and down. And if you have chronic QL tension, if you did this routine before a workout or built it into your daily movement routine, you're gonna start to notice some serious changes, especially within a couple week period. Now, if these concepts made sense to you, where I take a specific muscle group or a body area and first reduce the tension, and then restore motion, and then reinforce it with stability, then let me know what group of muscles you want to see next. And if you want to restore some spinal mobility, check out my new spinal mobility program that just released in my monthly membership. And as a bonus right now, I'm offering a 14-day free trial, so you have nothing to lose and only spinal mobility to gain. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, so you know when the next video drops.